Three HOA board members broke into my locked garage at 10:14. Sunday morning, while I was sitting in church 3 miles away, they thought HOA authority meant unlimited power. But they triggered a silent alarm directly connected to the sheriff's office. 4 minutes later, patrol lights painted my driveway red and blue while they stood inside my workshop holding clipboards. By sunset, their inspection became criminal trespass charges, a federal lawsuit, and the beginning of the HOA's collapse. My name is Logan Mitchell, 59 years old, retired after 29 years with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I spent my final 12 years as senior investigator in property crimes, handling burglaries, theft rings, and criminal trespassing cases. I know illegal entry law better than most attorneys, and I recognize arrogance disguised as authority instantly. I retired in 2021 with full pension and moved into Oakmont Hills outside Birmingham. The property included a detached 2-car garage I converted into a woodworking workshop. Restoring antique furniture became therapy after decades chasing criminals through Jefferson County streets. Old habits never fade, so I installed commercial-grade cameras, motion sensors, and a silent alarm. The system connected directly to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Center. For 3 peaceful years, the HOA operated reasonably, enforcing rules without harassment or ego. Then March elections replaced stability with ambition, wrapped in corporate language and inflated authority. Preston Wallace became president, flanked by Nathan Cruz and Diane Foster. Preston treated neighborhood governance like he was auditing a Fortune 500 corporation. In April, I received a violation notice claiming my garage doors were improperly maintained. The doors were functional, painted, and weathered normally for a 15-year-old structure. The covenants required safe condition, not aesthetic perfection or subjective beauty standards. I responded in writing requesting clarification of the specific covenant language violated. Preston replied the board determined my doors detracted from neighborhood aesthetics. He ordered repainting or replacement within 30 days or fines of $100 daily. I attended the next board meeting prepared with highlighted covenants and documented maintenance records. Preston insisted the board possessed discretion to interpret standards protecting property values. I reminded him, discretion does not mean inventing requirements absent from written covenants. The violation stood, and I left knowing escalation was inevitable. 30 days passed, and fines accumulated to $1,000 within 10 days. I filed a formal dispute citing fabricated enforcement and lack of objective standards. Preston denied the dispute and escalated with a threat more serious than fines. He sent notice stating the HOA would enter my property and remedy the violation. The covenants allowed entry only during genuine emergencies like fire or flood. Repainting garage doors is not an emergency under any legal definition. I mailed a certified warning stating any unauthorized entry would constitute criminal trespass. I clearly referenced Alabama property law and potential civil rights violations. Preston responded that my threats would not intimidate the board. I called Sheriff David Richardson, my colleague of 23 years. David confirmed HOA authority never overrides criminal statutes or constitutional protections. He told me to call immediately if anyone attempted unlawful entry. 2 weeks later, Linda and I attended the 10 o'clock service at Oakmont Community Church. At 10:14 a.m., my phone vibrated with an intrusion alert from the garage. The notification read, "Motion detected, silent alarm activated, law enforcement notified." I stepped outside the sanctuary and dialed 911 calmly and precisely. Dispatch recognized my voice and confirmed deputies were already en route. Estimated time of arrival was 4 minutes. While driving home, I opened the live camera feed on my phone. Preston Wallace stood inside my workshop holding a clipboard like an auditor. Nathan photographed my tools and cabinets while Diane examined storage shelves. They had entered my locked garage without permission, warrant, or emergency justification. Deputy Marcus Williams arrived first and observed the side door standing open. He approached cautiously, hand near his weapon, announcing Sheriff's Office presence. The 3 board members exited looking indignant rather than frightened. Preston claimed they were conducting an authorized HOA inspection. Marcus asked if they possessed owner permission or court authorization. Preston insisted HOA bylaws granted enforcement authority to enter. Marcus informed them private property requires consent or judicial order. I arrived as identification was being collected and statements initiated. I confirmed I never provided keys nor granted entry permission. Preston claimed the HOA maintained master keys for emergency access. I stated firmly I had never surrendered any keys whatsoever. Sheriff Richardson arrived moments later, immediately recognizing the legal implications. He explained, HOA authority does not supersede the Fourth Amendment. Entry without consent constituted criminal trespass, possibly burglary, depending on key acquisition. Statements were recorded, evidence documented, and probable cause established on scene. Preston, Nathan, and Diane were arrested for criminal trespass that morning. News spread rapidly through Oakmont Hills about the board's arrest. I retained Catherine Morrison, specializing in civil rights and property litigation. She identified violations including unlawful search, trespass, invasion of privacy, and constitutional infringement. We filed a federal lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. Discovery revealed Preston conducted similar, unauthorized inspections at 4 additional properties. 2 garages and 2 backyard sheds had been entered without owner knowledge. Security footage from my workshop became pivotal evidence during litigation. Audio captured Preston discussing potential violations while inside my private workspace. The HOA's insurer denied coverage, labeling actions intentional torts outside policy protection. Criminal proceedings concluded first with guilty pleas to misdemeanor trespass. All 3 resigned from the board as part of negotiated probation terms. 8 months later, the federal civil trial commenced in Birmingham. Expert testimony explained constitutional protections against unreasonable searches by quasi-governmental bodies. The jury deliberated 6 hours before returning unanimous verdicts. I received $175,000 in compensatory and punitive damages combined. The HOA was found liable for negligent supervision and enabling unlawful enforcement practices. Total judgment and fees reached $380,000. Oakmont Hills imposed a special assessment to cover depleted reserves. Residents expressed outrage toward former board leadership and demanded restructuring. Preston, Nathan, and Diane each filed personal bankruptcy petitions. The entire board was dissolved and replaced through emergency elections. New policies required court orders before any representative could enter private property. Enforcement procedures now mandate legal review for significant covenant actions. My garage doors remain unchanged, functional, and fully compliant with written covenants. Additional signage now warns unauthorized entry will be prosecuted. Media coverage cited the case as cautionary example of HOA overreach nationwide. Legal journals analyzed constitutional implications for homeowner associations exercising enforcement authority. Preston once projected confidence behind folding tables and procedural scripts. That confidence evaporated when real authority arrived wearing a sheriff's badge. The difference between perceived power and lawful authority became painfully clear that morning. If anyone tests property rights again in Oakmont Hills, they will remember what happened at 10:14 a.m. Sunday.